What is a libertarian? Why is this a term that dates back to the mid-19th century and means something completely different than what it started out as in the 21st century? I'm Philip Lindsay. I'm Secretary Pro Tem for the Northwest Michigan Libertarian Party, and I would be glad to take you on a historical journey from the times of Joseph DeJacques to the present day party status. Welcome to Libertarian, a History. So what is libertarianism? David D'Amato describes it as the simple idea that each individual has rights that no other individual or group of them may violate. It assumes the liberty and autonomy of the individual, premised on the natural equality of all people before the law. Basically, D'Amato describes it as people being sovereign and of their own volition, as long as they're not infringing on others' rights and basically controlling other people. They are in charge of themselves. So as looking through the history, we'll start with Joseph DeJacques, who founded the term libertarian, go through the economic theories of Ludwig von Mises, and then the forming of the party by David Nolan in 1971, to the status of the party now. Joseph DeJacques, our journey begins with him. And it may surprise many who have some preconceived notions of libertarianism being a right-wing capitalist philosophy. DeJacques was an anarcho-communist revolutionary who coined the term libertarian in his periodical Les Libertaires. He was French, obviously, with the name. And in 1858, he wrote an article titled Exchange, where in this quote he critiques the concepts of the traditional idea of communism being the idea where everyone gets fair compensation for their labor, but instead of it being more everyone gets their needs met. So he starts out, he goes, go beyond the abolition of contract to the abolition not only of the sword and of capital, but also of property and of authority in all its forms. Then you will have arrived at the anarchist community. That is to say, the social state where each one is free to produce or consume according to his will or fancy without controlling, or being controlled by any other person whatever. Where the balance of production and consumption is established naturally, no longer by the restrictive laws and arbitrary force of others, but in the free exercise of industry prompted by the needs and desires of each individual. Basically, DeJacques uses the concept of production and consumption as similar along the lines of supply and demand. Basically, if there's a demand for something, people produce more of it because people are consuming more of it, and therefore vice versa. If people are producing a bunch of something and it's not getting consumed, they'll stop producing that and produce what is needed, and everything just balances out without the exchange of money, labor, and people being controlled by other people. Ludwig von Mises, he was an Austrian economics professor. He grew up lecturing. He started lecturing about economics and around the time shortly following World War II. Most of his theories come from speaking about peace and talking about how monetary policies led to both of the great wars that we've had, World War I and World War II. He describes money as being in three categories: commodity, fiat, and credit. Commodity is similar to a contract where I trade you this X amount of gold, silver, whatever for X amount of work, and they both agree, provide the materials, and exchange back and forth in a transaction. Fiat is state currency where the state puts up laws saying this note is worth this much money, and credit is basically just like a credit card. You say, give me this now, and I will pay you later at a later date. He talks about a lot of how this led to World War II and World War One. How basically the consumption of money and debt led to conquering wars, and the imperialistic ways that Germany had at the time to conquer Europe. David Nolan kind of ties these both together and forms the Libertarian Party. Founded the party in Colorado on December 11th, 1971, and since its inception, it has been divided into two factions: the purists and the opportunists. Purists believe more in the ideology of the party, whereas the opportunists seek to win elections and moderate the party. Nolan found himself often on the side of the opportunists, but he has always called for peace between the two, and saying it's really unimportant and actually affecting change that he sought to affect. Basically, the birth of the LP and the Libertarian Party was predicated on several reasons, primarily of which was in August 15th, the appearance of Nixon announcing wage price freezes and demonetization of the dollar. Basically, the party became founded as an anti-Nixon party, many of which were Republicans that defected because they were appalled at the assault of civil rights by the Nixon administration and felt the need to no longer be affiliated with the Republican Party. Nolan quotes, "Our battle today is with the ADA, the Kennedys, the Rockefellers, and others who seek to expand the state, and any time spent arguing amongst ourselves over relatively fine points is simply wasteful and enervating." Basically, this is him criticizing the infighting in the Libertarian Party at the time. And needless to say, today, a lot has changed, but there's still a lot of divisions inside of the party. There's a lot more working together. The party is growing, and it has expanded on appealing to both left and right issues, and it's often described as being socially liberal and economically conservative, as you can kind of tell through the discussed. The Libertarian Party was founded with Nixon's civil rights infringements. This is the preamble to the Libertarian Party. As libertarians, we seek a world of liberty, a world in which all individuals are sovereign over their own lives and are not forced to sacrifice their values for the benefit of others. We believe that respect for individual rights is the essential precondition for a free and prosperous world, that force and fraud must be banished from human relationships, and that only through freedom can peace and prosperity be realized. Consequently, we defend each person's right to engage in any activity that is peaceful and honest, and welcome the diversity that freedom brings. The world we seek to build is one where individuals are free to follow their own dreams and their own ways without interference from government or any authoritarian power. In the following pages, we set forth our basic principles and enumerate various policy stands derived from those principles. These specific policies are not our goal, however. Our goal is nothing more nor less than a world set free in our lifetime, and it is to this end that we take these stands. In conclusion, the libertarian ideology instilled that rights begin and end with the individual, and that no one should control or be controlled by another. From the ideology formed the Libertarian Party platform in 1971, and it continues to be a third party in today's election. The party is still growing and spreading the ideology it was founded upon to this day, and is represented on ballots nationwide as an option to counter the two main parties we all know. Without anthropologists like DeJacques and economists like Mises, these ideas would easily have gone to the wayside and be lost to history. Thank you.